Hello and welcome. Just want to say I really appreciate all the views that I've gotten on my unboxing of my Canyon Aero CF SLX. So it's been about 1,000 miles and I wanted to just give a quick review and tell you what I like, what I don't like, and some of the things about the bike that I did not know when I bought it, but really, for the most part, very, very much like. First and foremost, this is the CF SLX Aero in Force 12 axis, and that has been an absolute dream. What a great crankset, really good looking, and the whole shifting and braking mechanisms have worked great. I really like with the Force how you can go into their app and select whether you want sequential gearing or standard gearing and whatnot. I've been playing around with everything, but I really do like this sequential gearing, where you pretty much just right hand makes it harder and it'll take care of all the shifting for you in terms of front derailleur, rear derailleur, compensation, and it just really is clean and simple and easy to use, and it keeps me from worrying about where I'm going with it. I've also played around with if I hit the bottom of a hill and I know that I need to be in the smaller chainring, just a quick tap on both at the same time, and it instantly drops that front into the correct gear so that I'm ready to go on there. But just, yeah, really love it. Love how the Quarq power meter tells me what's going on with everything through my Garmin 520 Plus up at the front end. The Zipp wheels, Zipp 404 Firecrest, they've been very, very good. I had head wheels on my older bike and was very, very happy with them. So it is a pretty direct comparison, except those were rim brake and whatnot, but they were about the same depth. They seem to spin a little bit easier than these Zipps, but I think it's just kind of getting broken in still, so they're not quite fully up to snuff, but they are smooth, they are fast. I do get affected by wind a little bit, but I'll get into that in a moment because I don't think it's the Zipps as much as I think it's the angles on the Canyon that allow me to be a little twitchier than my older bike. But yeah, for the most part, very, very good. The back end though, and this is something if you want to comment about the stickers. So the stickers are nice and they look good, but they get really dirty really, really quick, especially on the chain side on my bike, even though I'm using a dry lube and try to keep things clean. The bike itself, I love the gloss white, love that it looks the way it looks, but as a friend of mine and I had talked about this, he has one very similar, it does get really, really dirty. So it's something that you have to keep an eye on. I try to wipe it down, with a cleaning cloth after a ride, but it's amazing how dirty this thing gets. But hey, you're out there using it and that's what's really fun. So Zipp wheels are great. I'm still waiting for them to be a little smoother, but for the most part, very, very fast. Speed-wise or sound-wise, it's loud. I'll give you a demo of that shortly after we kind of go through the rest of it. The seat. Everyone has worried about the seat post falling, collapsing in, doing whatever. I have had one experience with that. So after about 4 weeks, on one of my rides with a group that I ride with, I noticed that a little bit of noise was coming from what I thought was the seat post, because as soon as I got out of the saddle, the noise went away. And sure enough, it was. Now, Canyon provides you with some grease that goes right in this little inside the rubber socket here, and it was very easy to fix. It had pre-come with some grease already on it, so I didn't add any more. But what I did when I got home, just took a picture so that I remembered where I'm at, because there's a nice lines to show you exactly where your seat post is on the other side, and took out the seat post, added a little grease to the inside of the rubber that Canyon already provided, stuck it back in, tightened it back up to the 6 Newton meters that it calls for, and no more rattle. So it was really easy to fix. I've not had any of the collapsing that people have talked about where the seat post just drops down. I think they've figured this out, which is really cool. So that part of it's good. The other part of that is the comfort. The seat post looks huge and thick, but really it's a shroud. And the back side is the seat post. The front part is just a shroud and doesn't have any structural ability. So what you get is a really nice flexible seat posts. That's why they have this rubber in there. And the comfort level is astounding. I am on the same roads that I was riding on for 2 years with my Tarmac, and even though my Tarmac is not as stiff as the Canyon, it did have its own little shock absorption system built into the seat post and whatnot, but this is way more comfortable. The just removal of the road buzz that you get with the bike is astounding, and at the same time you're going faster and with less tire pressure in there too. So it's a combination of a lot of things, but I think the seat post works really, really well. Up at the handlebar end, talking about these, they are the most comfortable handlebars I've ever ridden on, and I am blown away. I think it's my favorite part of the bike is the way the handlebars, the comfort of the handlebars. Again, compared to my old bike, compared to every other bike I've ridden, just the way that they lay out and the grip, it's just right on for me. I'm not saying it is for everybody. I've kept them at the narrowest area because I'm not very wide myself, so they're set up on a large bike at 40 centimeters, and it just works out great for me in terms of the width. The way my hands feel on the hoods is great, but my favorite part is actually riding in the drops. I never really rode in the drops that much on my older bike. I think I was too stretched out actually in a little bit, but the angles and stuff just weren't good. This one, it feels like it comes back up, even though it doesn't. It just is so comfortable on there. And the other thing that's a small thing, but it's great, is the tape that Canyon puts on here is fantastic for me. Again, this is now getting into my own style. It's grippy, and my hands are really dry. They don't sweat. I don't sweat through my hands. I sweat up here. So my hands don't get wet, but this keeps me from sliding or slipping. And while I do ride with gloves 90% of the time, I've actually started experimenting without gloves, and I'm very comfortable with them. So that's kind of a unique part of the bike. So in talking about the Canyon CF SLX, the handlebar, my favorite part of the bike. The seat post works great, haven't had any issues with, except for a little bit of knocking, but that was easily solved. The Force 12, absolutely love the drivetrain, love the ability to adjust the way you shift and to take care of things that way. The wheels, they're very good. The bike itself, overall, unbelievably quick and fast and smooth at the same time. It's just been a joy to ride. The area that, if I say that it's a little weird, not really dislike, but the front end is very twitchy. I actually use this little rubber band thing to kind of keep the wheel from moving, because even when it's perfectly straight, the front wheel always wants to turn and spin. And when it's in my garage, I want it to face straight, just so I don't bump it with the car or do anything like that. So I keep that on there just for that, but it just works out great. So, let me give you a couple little spin downs in terms of how I feel like the front wheel could be a little bit quicker, but it's not making any noise or doing anything, and then I'll show you what the back end sounds like when it spins up. So let's take care of that right now. So the front end spins very smooth, but compared to my heads on my old bike, even though those were a few years old, so I'll give this time, you can see that it slows down a little quicker than I would have expected, and it doesn't really even, the balance, while being very good, it'll stop anywhere on the system. My heads would actually find kind of a top dead center and just get back to where they were. So that's the front wheel. Now I do expect these to loosen up a little more. Again, I still only have about 1,000 miles on these, so I'm not going crazy with it. But the back end, this is what it sounds like. So that's my 1,000-mile update on my Canyon CF SLX Air Road with Force Axis components. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll try to keep you up to date on some other stuff if things happen. Thank you. See ya.